So what we're going to go through today is just kind of like who we are, positions that we're hiring for at the moment, and a description of kind of like your career path at what that could look like. So I'm Jenny. I'm a project manager on the construction side at the San Leandro office.
And I'm Dirk Morris. I'm a design engineer out of the San Francisco office.
Okay, so who is ACCO? We are the third largest mechanical contractor in the US, and we are the largest on the West Coast, the largest privately held contractor in the US. I'll get into kind of what that means in a little bit. But so to give you kind of a depth of our size, how big our company is, we've designed, installed, and maintained over 250,000 mechanical projects. And then we have some metrics here of 2022 revenues. So we did in 2022 $1.78 billion. So it's a pretty big number. We're doing a lot of projects. In 2022, our workforce, meaning our field crews, we had an average of 4,700 personnel in the field. We booked 4,300 projects, and we serviced 15,800 buildings. So we have a lot of projects happening all the time. We have a large field crew to support that and make sure that our projects are always running smoothly and well staffed. And then to back up those projects, our office team is also size. We have 220 projects, 105 licensed professional engineers, 170 people in our engineering department, and 140 detailers. So along with getting, a lot of projects annually, we have a lot of staff and workforce to really back it up and make sure that we're managing those projects well. You can see on the map over here, where our office is located. So as I mentioned, we're the largest mechanical contractor on the West Coast. You can see a lot of our offices are really centered in California, the coast, but we're starting to expand further east, and we hope to continue that expansion. Okay, so ACCO was founded in 1934. We were originally called the Air Conditioning Company. We have since then dropped that name, shortened to just ACCO Engineered Systems. So you'll see from time to time, people still have that reference, but we are just ACCO now. And then we are a 100% employee-owned company. So what that means is that you can't buy or sell our stocks publicly. It's all private. So when you get hired at ACCO, you're allocated shares. And every year you get more shares. You don't have to do anything. It's just being hired, employed at ACCO, you're getting those shares. It's based on your position, the amount of time you've been at ACCO, a couple other factors. But basically what that means is you have an additional 401k. So it's probably not like something you guys are thinking about all the time as college students, but it is a huge benefit. So normally you pay into a 401k. This is just a retirement fund sitting there for you that you're getting just for being employed at ACCO. When you would retire, you have an extra retirement fund account there. Again, you probably aren't thinking about it a lot, probably it's important. It's a very good benefit. You will enjoy it in the future. Okay, so ACCO is an employee-owned family companies. What we do is design, fabrication, installation, and maintenance of a few different disciplines. They're listed here. So we cover commercial and industrial HVAC. We do refrigeration, plumbing, process piping, site utilities, building automation systems. So what we mean by commercial and industrial HVAC, it basically means we're not doing like residential houses. We're not doing single family owned houses. We're doing large full building, like high-rise condos. We're doing Google office space. We're doing pharmaceutical companies, we're doing labs for Apple, things like that. So big commercial spaces. And then on the industrial side, it's like refineries, things like that, where it's very large sites, pipe, big systems. Okay, so refrigeration, plumbing, these are all of the work we do is commercial, so no residential stuff. The process piping, kind of what that covers, it's the clean piping for, like I mentioned, like labs and manufacturing suites. So for like biopharmaceutical companies, we're doing labs and manufacturing spaces for that. Site utilities, that's all the equipment that keeps these plants running. So for example, at a refinery, they have a lot of large equipment. They have a lot of chillers, compressors, different equipment to keep the site running. That would be your site utilities, what's needed to actually keep the building or the site fully functioning and running at all times. And then building automation systems, that's our controls department. That's a sister company, Sunbelt Controls. It's all under the same ACCO umbrella, ACCO family. but they operate under a different name, self-help controls. All right, so the roles that we are hiring for in the company. Right now we're hiring for project engineering in the new construction side. So that's what I do, well, project manager, but I'm in the new construction side. Those are ground up projects. So that means basically you're starting with a plot of land. You have an empty site, you're building the whole shell of the building and all of the utilities that go inside to make that building function for whatever it may be, whether it's an office space, a lab building, you're doing that entire process. We're also hiring for project engineers on the facility service side. And so that's more of existing buildings and sites, any repairs that they need within the building, or if their equipment's getting old and it needs to be upgraded or changed out, they're handling those kind of projects. And then we have design engineering as well, which Derek will speak to a little bit later. So that is essentially what it sounds like. You're taking, own requirements, figuring out a design, sizing, layout for the systems that we're going to build.
So, kind of the framework of the different things you're going to be learning and doing, if you were to get hired, would be we have a whole training program and a bunch of different lessons and just teachable takeaways through our summer program. So you're going to be going on site walks. You're going to be going to our shops, our plumbing shops. You're going to be taught, the basics of our company and what we do. And it's a whole process to get you introduced to the construction industry and what we do to make sure that you guys have the tools you need to succeed at your job and you're not going to get thrown in the water right away. And then be given the info and the knowledge to be successful. So one of the main roles is what I do with design engineering. You're going to be taking exactly what Jenny said. You're going to be talking with the owner, talking with the architects, seeing what system they need, what they need for the mechanical, for the plumbing, for the process piping, and designing the actual building itself. So you're gonna be the main person calculating the loads for the space. You're gonna be doing energy analysis, and you're gonna be like the main point of contact for all the different code requirements and the different jurisdictions. So you're gonna be mostly focused on one of our offices, and you're gonna be designing on a computer. So if that's something that you're more interested in, this is a good option for you.
All right, and then on the project management side, so I'm going to kind of run you guys through what a project manager does. I know I said before we're hiring project engineers, but the way that we structure our company, you come in as a project engineer, design engineer, and some mentorship. So I'll kind of touch on that in the next slide as well, but you'd be partnered with a project manager, kind of running through the day-to-day with them as well. So it's the same activities. You're just under a project manager, kind of learning the ropes, getting started until eventually the goal is, to be promoted to project manager. So as a project manager, you really are the single source for the entire project. You are seeing that whole project through from the beginning to the end, every phase of construction. So what sets ACCO apart from other companies? A lot of other companies have like business development department. They'll have an estimating and sales department. They'll have a project closeout department. But at ACCO, as the project manager, you're doing everything. So you get to be involved in every facet of the project. I think it's really cool. You get a really good knowledge of the project. You know what you're doing. It's not like somebody else sold this job for you and then you're coming in and trying to run it. You sold the job. You know what's going on. You're already involved. And then you're able to manage this project with the knowledge of how you did the job. So this beginning, client development, it's very important. It's a fun part of ACCO. You want to keep a relationship with your clients, so whether that's the general contractor, the company owner that you're doing work for, we want to maintain a good relationship with them. Kind of an example for you guys to tie it back, similar to like lab partners. I'm sure it's easier to work with a lab partner that you're friends with or have a relationship with versus a stranger, right? It's just easier to jump in. You already have that relationship. It's the same thing with construction. You want to have that relationship already built and be able to work well with whoever is managing the job above you. I didn't fully touch on it, but ACCO, we're a subcontractor. So we work under the umbrella of a general contractor. So we're just doing our specific portion of scope. So you want to have that good relationship with the person that's managing the whole job and be able to really work through things. Okay, so once you have your relationship with your clients, They send you bid requests, you're estimating. We have an internal estimating system program that we use. So you estimate your own jobs, you send in your bids and your proposals. And then when you're awarded the job, goes to our engineering department. So someone like Derek would be assigned to your project. You're working really closely with engineering to oversee the design, make sure we're meeting all the requirements, coordinating with the other trades. So this is a really big one because we don't want to show up to the job having just worked in our little silo and this is our scope and this is what we're doing. We want to know what all the other trades are doing too. So we want to work with the electricians, fire, life safety. We want to make sure all of our designs mesh together so that when we go to install it, it's all one team. It's all one big project team, not just everyone working in their individual silos. It's one team. And then ACCO has a team within it to make sure that everything's cohesive. Okay. So project engineers, design, you move into construction phase. Personally, this is my favorite phase because I like being on the job sites. You get to work really closely with the field team, which I think is really cool. It's different perspective. Seeing the design on paper, what's been drawn, and then actually seeing it in the field, getting installed, and the whole process from start to finish, like the evolution of that job being installed is really neat to see. So that's also a huge benefit about coming to a mechanical contractor is you get to actually see the designs implemented. Whereas if you're an engineering firm, you might just be designing that project, you kick it off, someone else installs it. But at ACCO, we install all of the projects that we engineer. So we don't engineer projects for other companies to build. We build everything we design. So it's really neat to see something on paper actually transfer physically into like a building. And then the benefit on the construction side, so we're all up together. Like I said, larger projects will usually have like a team on this trailer. So you're sitting out there with your general foreman who's managing the field. If an issue arises in the field, he's coming to you, you're working out in real time, solving all the engineer, figure out what our solutions are depending on what's happened. You know, for example, there's like a clash in the field where we designed, we're going to install our pipe, it doesn't actually work in reality. So we're all together, you know, on a whiteboard problem solving, figuring out what the best solution is. And then as the project manager, you're also in charge of financials. So while you're problem solving, you're also thinking about, you know, what's the best financial solution. You want to do things cost effectively, on schedule, but still giving the client the best product you can. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things, but it's fun to have that working like group environment and be working through these problems together. And then completion and warranty, once construction's done, the owner's happy, everyone loves the project. You go through documentation. We like to turn it over. We document, we have records of like everything we're installing just to document and be able to provide the owner something that says like, yes, we installed this correctly. It's fully functioning. You have a working system now that we're walking away. And then we'll go through your warranty period or if anything happens on site. We have a warranty department, they'll come out, we'll figure out what's going on, solve the problem. So the project manager is involved through all of this, which seems like a lot, but it's very fun. So it kind of lets you be your own like business unit. So if you have like entrepreneurial tendencies, this might be a really good option for you. You get to kind of direct the team and figure out which way you're going. So leading into that mentorship and growth opportunities. So kind of what I touched on, like you'd be coming in as a design engineer, project engineer. So you're not going to be thrown into everything I just went through on your own from the beginning. You'll partner with the project manager. They'll be kind of guiding you through it. You'll be working alongside of them, helping through the process, kind of seeing how everything works, and then eventually have the skills you need to run projects on your own. And when you do get promoted, it would still be partnered with the more senior PM. So there's stepping stones. We're looking out for you guys like all along the way. It's not just sink or swim. But so this are some examples of some of the different paths at ACCO. So just like there's not one way to work at ACCO. So you can start as a design engineer, move into an engineering team lead and an engineering manager. You can also come as a design engineer, move into a project group where I am as a project engineer, and then move into project management. Even coming from the field and the BIM detailing side, we'll move into engineering and then move into project group. So there's a lot of different avenues, a lot of different options coming into ACCO. It's not like you have a set track. So working with, you know, whoever your mentor is and you're partnered with, you can figure out like what your best skill set is, what interests you the most, and kind of figure out a path that works for you so that everyone's doing what they want to do. And I kind of already touched on this, but ACCO is very team oriented. So all of our projects, we have design engineer, project engineers, project management, and you're all working collectively as one team to get this project designed, implemented, installed, and make sure it goes as smoothly as possible. So what ACCO is doing really is we're trying to build leaders for the future. So, we want to hire people. We really prefer to hire from within. So we want to hire people as design engineers, project engineers, and really give them the tools they need to succeed, and then promote from within. So that eventually they're moving up to these engineering managers and project managers and being the future leaders of our company. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So these are some of the example projects that we've done recently in the Bay Area. As Jenny mentioned earlier, we are the largest mechanical contractor on the West Coast. And because of that, we get selected for the biggest and coolest projects in the West Coast. If you work at a smaller company, you won't even be able to get the opportunities to work at a place like Chase Center or the Salesforce Tower, just because they prefer to go to us as the main primary mechanical contractor. So, for example, like Levi's, major stadium, Salesforce Tower, Chase Center. And then recently, one of the bigger projects that we've been working on is Google Caribbean. It is not in the Caribbean, it's just on Caribbean Drive in, I think Mountain View, yeah. So this was a very big project. It's in construction right now. We were doing design engineering and we're doing the construction. So it was a big undertaking for us. It's a huge project.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So just overall really cool building. It's got a green roof. They try to make it very involved in the nature. But what does that mean for us? So part of our job as design engineers and as project managers is taking what the architects have envisioned and making sure that the code requirements and that people are, getting enough ventilation, that they're being cooled properly, that all the things that you may not want to think about when you're actually like using the building. It's all the things that like you just expect to work. You have to think about ahead of time to make sure that we're covering our bases. So this is a very big project. So this is an example of what we have to do as design engineers. So this would be like a whole team working on this together. We work with the architects through the whole main design, and we work with the electricians, like all the other scopes, and we put it all into one model ahead of time. And we try to make sure that everyone has their own space, that we're all working together. And then if we just isolate our mechanical scope, it's a lot just within this one building. So these are all the things that are, going to be above the ceiling or underneath the floors that we have to design, we have to install. So one of the things specifically requested for this project is they wanted underfloor cooling. So if you think about it, for underfloor cooling, we're having, instead of the usual above ceiling diffusers, we have it underneath the floor here. But as we know, heat rises. So if we're diffusing cold air at the bottom, we have to think about those things, because otherwise all the cold air will just stick on the bottom. So part of that as design engineers. So this is just an underfloor look at what we have to do. So for this project, we had to get specialty swirled diffusers that would blow the cold air up into the rest of the space and make sure that all the air mixes with each other to make sure we don't get stratified air. And one of the cool things we did for this project is that we had to do a computational fluid dynamics analysis. So we modeled the whole building, we laid out all the diffusers, and now we have to go in and actually do a full computer model of like how the air is going to flow. Are we making sure we're covering people's heat load, or there's going to be hot spots within the building. So this is one of the especially difficult projects that we had to work on, and we had a whole team dedicated to make sure that this project works well. We're not going to be people aren't going to be sweating in the corner, and that every little pocket has enough cooling available. So,
All right, that kind of rounds out our presentation. So we got to do kind of a taste of the different positions, different projects. We're working on some really big projects, really intricate projects, really all shapes and sizes. So if you guys have any questions, yeah.
How many project engineers are working together on just building?
So that's a great question.
I can't assume just like one guy.
no. I think like specifically for like our design engineering, we had like a team lead plus like 3 or 4 engineers working together to build the whole model and then run the whole analysis. Because we have like there's gonna be someone who's just gonna be sizing everything. There's someone like laying out stuff. So it's a whole like collaborative effort on that part.
On the project management side, you probably have one project manager overseeing all of it and a couple of project engineers underneath that. So. Any other questions?
So right now we're hiring for both full-time and interns for the positions we showed earlier, which is project engineering, both new construction and facility service, and we're also hiring for interns for design engineering as well.
Is that for like right now or
no,
next year?
It's either right now or also for next year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like once you graduate.
Yeah, that's what it's like today or is it like someday?
Yeah, after school.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you're graduated, that's when we start hiring.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you come in as an intern, like we have the whole summer program that we talked about. Jeffrey did it, so he can tell you about it as well. But you do a lot of cool things. You get to dip your feet in a lot of different parts of the business. So I think it's a really good program. We implemented it a lot more recently just because we see the benefit of like teaching people a lot more as soon as they join. And they're not just like in their little silo, they don't know what's going on with the rest of the company.
I would say, I guess, what advice would you give to people who are actively looking for potentially in design engineering? How do they decide? How would they decide which one they want to go into? What is your advice?
So the way that ACCO typically prefers to hire people is through design engineering first. It's really, it's personality based. It's what you're interested in. It's what you want to get into. We like to start people in design engineering because then you have that foundation, the background of like having design jobs and then moving into project engineering where you're more on the management side, but you have that design experience. So you guys being in engineering classes, you already have that engineering background. So that's the general path that you would take. But if you're kind of adverse to, being in design engineering, doing that full time. We have rotational programs where you can start as a design engineer, be there for like 6 months, rotate into project group, see how you feel about it. Or straight into project group if that's more of what you want to do. But it's really up to you. It's if you feel more inclined on the design side and that's what you're more interested in, or if you think that like project management might be something that's more up your alley. That wasn't a great answer of how to decide, but it's kind of a personal choice. Like I said, we recommend going design first to get you a really good foundation. So starting there is definitely a huge benefit throughout the company. And if it's not the perfect fit for you, we have those rotational programs. So you're not stuck there for 5 years necessarily if it's something that you're not enjoying.
Yeah, going off of that, I think if you'll dip your feet in design engineering and in your classes, if you prefer the more engineering side of things, you like doing calculations, you like wrapping your head around different designs, you'll recognize that right away. And if you prefer, more entrepreneurial mindset, you want to talk with clients, you like figuring out the problem with your the owners and seeing what they want. That's more like the project management side. It's like taking the technical knowledge that you already have and bringing solutions to a client. So you're kind of like the middle person between like the client and like the engineering base. So, maybe you're someone that's interested in engineering, but you don't want to be doing calculations all day, but you have the knowledge for like fluid dynamics and all refrigeration. Going the project management route is a good option.
Well, I guess I could ask this for some of us here, because I know some of us do want to take the rest. Is the
Yeah.
PE a requirement? It's part of the job description.
No, so it's the PE is more required if you're going into design engineering like long term. I knew a lot of the project managers because they started in design engineering, they ended up just getting their PE anyways. But if you want to go more to project management, you don't need the PE. But if you decide to just stay in design engineering, like eventually you'll need it. I will say it is a big help when you're applying because it shows like you have initiative, it shows that you're already thinking about your future career. And it's just like another thing to add on your resume as well.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely something good to have, but not an actual requirement.
Yeah.
Do you guys do R&D at ACCO?
So what do you mean?
Like research, like you like research and develop your own things that are not like industry standard.
So yes and no. So we have a whole subset group within our design engineering department, called our applications group. And they focus on like what are the new technologies that are coming out. They talk with the different equipment manufacturers, the different like product vendors, and they try to give like feedback to them and try to steer the products and the equipment to new directions. So we don't like necessarily design our own products.
To incorporate newer designs from other people and try to see if it's fine.
Yeah, so there's like whole organizations like ASHRAE and different like trade conferences and stuff. And essentially we take what we learned on the project and we go back to the vendor and say like, hey, we like this part, but like could you do this differently? Because we're implementing the products and not necessarily, making new things.
We're looking at more like a full system. So we're gonna take it from that generation equipment through the whole building and get kind of like the whole broader picture of how that system functions versus like the equipment specific. So like Derek said, we're giving recommendations of what we think like work better and would help us more, but in general, we're doing systems versus a specific piece.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good.
Keep it coming.
Have you ever had like tell a client that like the idea they had is kind of like not good?
Yes, yeah, all the time. Yeah, specifically, I worked on projects with like some of the bigger tech companies, and a lot of the clients there, they think they know what they want, or they try to influence us to go a certain direction. And part of our job is like knowing the code and like having all this project experience to try to steer them in what we know is best for them, and not necessarily like what they think is best, because it may be like it's their space, but it's their first time looking at mechanical systems. So we try to take our knowledge and explain it in terms that they would understand to make sure that we give them the best system.
Yeah, essentially they're hiring us because we are that subject matter expert,
Yeah.
right? Like we are the experts on these plumbing systems, the HVAC systems. So while the owners know a lot, their engineers are very knowledgeable, they have a lot of ideas of what they want, but like Derek said, we're the ones there to be like, okay, this is a great idea, and this is how we can implement it. It's not going to function the way that you think it is, So we want to really help them to get to what like the end goal they're looking for, but in a way that's actually compliant and will function.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we get owners or architects that, don't have the best knowledge of physics and how things work, and we try to bring our knowledge and kind of help them out.
So there's a lot of, steering in the right direction. Like we've done all this research, looking into the different avenues, what they want to do, but essentially coming to a consensus of what the best product is.
Huge.
And that's a big part of the collaboration between the engineering team, the project management team, delivering that conversation in a way that makes everyone feel good.
Yes.
Yeah. Part of what makes what sets ACCO apart is that we are design build contractors, so we have the engineering department, we have the people running the projects as well. So we're on the same team, we're on the same company. A lot of companies, it'll be separated where it's like
Yeah.
design is a separate company, people actually building it as another company, and sometimes they like butt heads. But because like we're all under the same roof, like we want our company to make money.
Yeah.
So,
We all have the same goals, very collaborative, so we can come to a conclusion and make a
Yeah.
decision amongst ourselves.
things flow a lot faster.
Yes.
I would say it's easier just to like call or email like your own employee versus like having a meeting and like talking with all these
Yeah.
different people, trying to figure it out.
It's the work environment a lot more fun, it's collaborative, it's not like, you know, talking to people in different companies that you might not know as well, it's somebody that's sitting downstairs.
Yeah.
So you guys never like hire like a smaller construction company? Like, have you ever like you just do it all your
No,
own?
so we hire subcontractors under us that cover scopes that we can't. So for example, there's different unions that we use, so insulation. That's its own separate union, so we hire another company to do insulation after we've installed the pipe. Things like that, or like chlorination, for domestic water, you have to chlorinate it so that to make sure there's no bacteria.
That's not reasoning. You're designing, it's just something you just kind of implement to make it work.
Yeah, but anything we're designing, we are installing.
Okay, this is not, just, obviously you're not designing insulation or water filtration thing.
Exactly, yeah. Those are extras that people can do for us, but yeah, anything that we design, we build, and we can build things that other companies design, so like I mentioned, I'm in the life science sector, so a lot of the biopharmaceutical companies like to hire an outside engineering firm, so we can take their drawings and build it, but nobody can take our drawings to build.
Got it. So you guys don't sell your drawings at all,
Not at all.
but you guys take other people's drawings and then build it for them.
Yes,
But they-
yeah, if that's what the client wants, we can take another engineering firm's drawings and build those.
Yeah.
And part of that as well, because if we do go that route, where we have someone else's drawings, we have our own engineering department to look at it as well.
Yeah.
Make sure like, okay, is there any way we can cut costs? Is there any way we can route this better? And we offer those suggestions to the client as well at times.
Yeah, which creates a huge benefit because we do have the knowledge in-house to look at that and question designs that we've received.
Yeah, but sometimes if you have a separate design company, they may not be thinking about all the costs that are involved versus like, we hear right away about the project managers if we design something that's too costly. So we can look at something and say like, okay, we can route this differently. We can, select this type of equipment better. That gives us an edge as well.
That's part of the process I mentioned, like being a project manager, like seeing the project through the whole process. So like, what you bid, what's in your estimate, what money you have. So when the engineers start working on it, costs we have. And if something kind of starts to get out of whack there, we can work on it right away. Anything else?
I'd say, yeah, generally just for career fair tips, bring lots of resumes. Like we run into people who run out of resumes a lot. It feels bad when you talk to someone near the end of the day and they have nothing to give you. And then you may not remember them because you don't have something to go back to. Dress nice, look presentable, make sure you know everything on your resume.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't try to present something that you think we want. Be yourself. It'll
Yeah.
come across much better.
Yes, that's one good thing about career fair.
Yeah.
In terms of career fair, I know you guys are full-time and interns.
Yes.
In terms of limitations of like an intern, like is there anything like stopping someone from applying? Like, oh, if they're like an electrical engineer major or if they're like a civil engineering, is that something that should be considered or?
So for our hiring, we typically look for, mechanical, industrials, even civil.
Yeah, that's not to say that another engineering discipline can't apply or come up to us. Typically, we try to keep it within engineering, just because you have more of like the background of what our company is going to be doing. But yeah, to Derek's point, that's typically what we're looking for. But any other kinds of engineering, please come up. That's not going to rule you out from the beginning.
Yeah, like we've hired people that are physics majors. We've hired,
We've got chemical engineers.
Yeah. So it's good to have you look for people with technical backgrounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
typically for interns, we're looking, sorry, we're looking for like third year interns. We have hired younger interns in the past, if it's the right fit, but typically it's summer after your third year.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. I was gonna ask about the beach swap, because, not all of us here are at the same time. Under. I interned, fine. Here was a question.
Yeah,
Factor or.
Yeah, typically you look for like what classes you've already taken. A lot of times, like if you're applying for design engineering, you want someone that's taken fluid dynamics, or thermodynamics. So it's not necessarily your age, it's more like what you already know and what you can like bring to the table as an intern.
so it's not like a hard stop, it's not immediately gonna knock you out, but that's generally looking. All right, well, thank you guys for coming. Derek and I are both gonna be Career Fair Friday, so
Yeah.
stop by our booth, say hello, drop off a resume.
Well, we'll have more people with us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you on Friday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys there.